أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله رب العالمين. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا وإمامنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. اللهم ربنا زدنا علما نافعا وعملا صالحا. اللهم ربنا زدنا علما نافعا وعملا صالحا. اللهم ربنا زدنا علما نافعا وعملا صالحا. اللهم ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم ربنا هب لنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. اللهم ربنا هب لنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. اللهم ربنا هب لنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من العجز والكسل والبخل والجبن وغلبة الدين وقهر الرجال. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من العجز والكسل والبخل والجبن وغلبة الدين وقهر الرجال. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من الهم والحزن والعجز والكسل والبخل والجبن وغلبة الدين وقهر الرجال. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من شرورهم. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من شرورهم. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من شرورهم. اللهم إنا نجعلك في نحورهم ونعوذ بك من شرورهم. اللهم إنا نجعلك في نحورهم ونعوذ بك من شرورهم. اللهم إنا نجعلك في نحورهم ونعوذ بك من شرورهم. أما بعد، فالسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Okay, inshallah, we start from Surah Al-Kahf. Everyone can grab a mushaf. It's a mushaf. If you don't have your own mushaf, grab a mushaf. Okay, so Surah. We're going to start from Surah Al-Kahf, inshallah ta'ala. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا حسنا ماكثين فيه أبدا وينذر الذين قالوا اتخذ الله ولدا ما لهم به من علم ولا لآبائهم كبرت كلمة تخرج من أفواههم إن يقولون إلا كذبا فلعلك باخع نفسك على آثارهم إن لم يؤمنوا فلعلك باخع نفسك على آثارهم إن لم يؤمنوا بهذا الحديث أسفا إنا جعلنا ما على الأرض زينة لها لنبلوهم أيهم أحسن عملا وإنا لجاعلون ما عليها صعيدا جرزا أم حسبت أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا إذ أوى الفتية إلى الكهف فقالوا ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا فضربنا على آذانهم في الكهف سنين عددا ثم بعثناهم لنعلم أي الحزبين أحصى لما لبثوا أمدا نحن نقص عليك نبأهم بالحق إنهم فتية آمنوا بربهم وزدناهم هدى وربطنا على قلوبهم إذ قاموا فقالوا ربنا رب السماوات والأرض لن ندعو من دونه إلها لقد قلنا إذا شططا هؤلاء قوم اتخذوا من دونه آلهة لولا يأتون عليهم بسلطان بين فمن أظلم ممن افترى على الله كذبا وإذ اعتزلتموهم وما يعبدون إلا الله فأووا إلى الكهف ينشر لكم ربكم من رحمته ويهيئ لكم من أمركم مرفقا وترى الشمس إذا طلعت تزاور عن كهفهم ذات اليمين وإذا غربت تقرضهم ذات الشمال وهم في فجوة منه ذلك من آيات الله من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وتحسبهم أيقاظا وهم رقود ونقلبهم ذات اليمين وذات الشمال وكلبهم باسط ذراعيه بالوصيد لو اطلعت عليهم لوليت منهم فرارا ولملئت منهم رعبا وكذلك بعثناهم ليتساءلوا بينهم قال قائل منهم كم لبثتم قالوا لبثنا يوما أو بعض يوم قالوا ربكم أعلم بما لبثتم فابعثوا أحدكم بورقكم هذه إلى المدينة فلينظر أيها أزكى طعاما فليأتكم برزق منه وليتلطف ولا يشعرن بكم أحدا إنهم إن يظهروا عليكم يرجموكم أو يعيدوكم في ملتهم ولن تفلحوا إذا أبدا وكذلك أعثرنا عليهم ليعلموا أن وعد الله حق وأن الساعة لا ريب فيها إذ يتنازعون بينهم أمرهم فقالوا بنوا عليهم بنيانا ربهم أعلم بهم قال الذين غلبوا على أمرهم لنتخذن عليهم مسجدا سيقولون ثلاثة رابعهم كلبهم ويقولون خمسة سادسهم كلبهم رجما بالغيب ويقولون سبعة وثامنهم كلبهم قل ربي أعلم بعدتهم ما يعلمهم إلا قليل فلا تمار فيهم إلا مراء ظاهرا ولا تستفت فيهم منهم أحدا ولا تقولن لشيء إني فاعل ذلك غدا إلا أن يشاء الله واذكر ربك إذا نسيت وقل عسى أن يهديني ربي لأقرب من هذا رشدا ولبثوا في كهفهم 300 سنين وازدادوا 9 قل الله أعلم بما لبثوا له غيب السماوات والأرض أبصر به وأسمع ما لهم من دونه من ولي ولا يشرك في حكمه أحدا. This Surah Kahf, we've been speaking for a long time now that we wanted to go through Surah Kahf and take the mindsets from this surah. This surah is, in terms of the order of the Mus'haf, is after Surah Isra. Is after Surah Isra. And as you know, the theme of Surah Isra is regarding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives victory to his believers. He gives victory to his believers, and no one or nothing can stop that. No one and nothing can stop that or prevent it. Not even the shayateen. Not even the shayateen. And so to prove that point to Muhammad sallallahu and the Sahaba, to prove that point that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give victory to his believers, and nothing or no one can stop it, even the shayateen, Surah Kahf was then mentioned. Surah Kahf then was mentioned. Why? Because in Surah Kahf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala aided the weak, destitute, youthful people against a tyrant, brutal regime. Yeah. Do you have pen and paper, brother? Take notes on the phone. Okay. Also, those who are listening live or watching, please make sure you have a notepad and a pen so you note things down. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Kahf, He gave victory to these youthful people, including their dog, to show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't include anyone in His authority and execution of might and power. And no one can prevent and stop it. And if you can do this with destitute people, weak, young people, even an animal, which is generally taken as impure. And if Allah can give victory to people who are not even prophets, then obviously Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give victory to the final Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, so this is the theme of Surah Isra and Surah Kahf. And this surah, the virtue of this surah is mentioned by Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. One of the virtue is that this surah protects oneself from Dajjal. The one who memorizes the first 10 verses. Also, the virtue of this surah is that the one who recites on Friday, they will have a nur until the next Friday. And that nur, what does it do? It protects them. It protects them from committing major sins, protects them from going astray from the deen of Allah Jalla wa Ala, and so on. So this surah has a virtue. It is said that time of the Salaf, Sahaba and Tabi'in, Tabi'in, Surah Kahf was one of those surahs that the children had to memorize. Surah Kahf was one of those surahs that the children had to memorize. In other words, it was given emphasis for it to be memorized amongst our early generations. It was also said that Surah Al-Kahf was one of those surahs that was most recited in the masjid. Because obviously Friday, when everyone's there, they're all reciting Surah Al-Kahf. So it's the most recited surah in the masjid. It is also said that Surah Al-Kahf is the most recited surah on Friday. Yeah? So you can see straight away the virtue of Surah Al-Kahf is huge. And the reason it has this immense virtue is because of that concept Allah is giving in Surah Al-Kahf, that everything is in His hands. Everything is in His hands. You see in Surah Al-Kahf, the whole theme is execution. No one can prevent it. No one can stop it. So whatever He wills, He executes. Yeah. So in the beginning, it's talking about these young men. Then in the middle, it's talking about the one who has gardens and he shows off, right? Allah destroys it. He couldn't stop it. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about Musa alayhi salam and Khidr alayhi salam. Musa could not stop what Allah willed. And Allah talks about at the end of Al-Qarnayn. No one can stop what Allah willed through Al-Qarnayn. And whatever that took place, it was extraordinary. It wasn't normal. It wasn't within normal cause and effect. It was not within the normal cause and effect. So if Allah controls the whole of this creation, including its cause and effect, and which is outside its cause and effect, then obviously it's more appropriate for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to control what is within the cause and effect. Yeah. So this surah should give you hope. Give you hope that as long as I am doing what I'm supposed to do, the victory will be mine. As long as I am doing what I am supposed to do, the victory will be mine. As long as I am doing what we are supposed to do, the victory will be ours. Because this is the first lesson, I'm not going to prolong it, inshallah, but prolong it a bit more. I will take it slowly this week, just for you to read the notes and prepare yourselves for next week, inshallah ta'ala. So, as long as I am doing what I'm supposed to do, that is mentioned in the first verse. That is mentioned in the first verse. And in the beginning verses, beginning 10 verses, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this cause, which is as long as you are doing what you're supposed to do, the effect of it, you'll achieve victory. And it's repeated. Within those verses, repeated, and within the whole surah, it's repeated. As long as you are doing what you're supposed to do, you will be victorious. Why? Because by default, you are with Allah. By default, you are with Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so the first verse is Alhamdulillah alladhi anzala ala abdihi al-kitaba wa lam yaj'al lahu 'iwaja. Yeah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is praising Himself for revealing upon Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam the final instructions in order for us to live for Qiyamah, until Qiyamah, with our whims and desires. If we live with the Quran, with the instructions of this final revelation, then we will not go astray, even though we may have within ourselves negative selves and whims and desires and interests. It will not make us go astray as long as we are obeying and following the instructions of the Book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the final revelation. Okay. And then he gives the answer to this question, if one was to ask, why have you given these instructions for us not to go astray in this life? That's fine, but what's the result of it? What's the final destination? Jalla wa ala mentions in the second verse. He says, those who, after knowing the instructions, follow their whims and desires, then we have prepared for them severe punishment. However, those who choose to follow us and do righteous good deeds and upright deeds, then for them there is eternal, pleasurable, delightful reward waiting for them. So from here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the ultimate mindset for living, the ultimate mindset for you as a Muslim or for you as a human being to live in this life. The ultimate mindset is that, which what we mentioned here in this first paragraph. The first mindset is, I exist simply to meet and see the miracle of existence. That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the whole entire existence exists however, not everyone will see and meet Allah, everyone will meet and see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only some of His creation will meet and see Him, and those of His creation are those who will be tested, and they are the human beings and the jinns. Only we will be deserving and worthy to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the highest of levels, with the utmost pleasures and delights. Now, the angels will also meet and see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the difference is with human beings and jinns is the honor of having the whims and desires and temptations and going against it due to the instructions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So our honor in Jannah and in meeting Allah and seeing Him will be higher and loftier in terms of honor. That's why all the angels will welcome us in Jannah out of respecting us, out of honoring us. So we do not exist simply for either us to be punished or us to be rewarded. In Jannah, la, there's something more beyond that, which is we exist to meet and see the miracle of existence. The miracle of existence is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If a person takes that destination out from their heart and mind, then they will slack and lack in the iman, in the tawheed, and even in the ibadat, and even in the trials and tribulations. And if they ingrain this belief, this reality, with this mindset, then they will be able to solidify the iman, settle and solidify and increase it accordingly. They will not slack and lack in tawheed or in ibadah or even in trials and tribulations. Similarly, those who commit kufr and shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is because that is not ingrained in their hearts and in their minds, that destination. Allah SWT mentions in the next verses regarding that matter. So the end of our journey, so when we die, that's not the end of our journey. There's the barzakh life, then there's qiyamah life, which is 50,000 years. Then there's a Jannah life, and the end of that Jannah life is meeting and seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's the end of our journey. If you don't have that in your heart, in your mind, and you don't consciously, proactively speak to your heart and your mind about this journey, then any instructions which are heavy or a continuous instruction or a difficult instruction, you may be beginning to slack. You may begin to slack. On a side note, if you don't speak to yourself regarding what you believe, you don't keep speaking to yourself regarding what you believe, then you will not be able to ingrain that belief in your heart and your mind. Also, if you don't question your belief, the whys and the buts and the ifs, again, you will not be able to ingrain that belief in your heart. And then on top of that, if you don't have a mindset built around that belief, then you will slack in actions. You'll slack in the actions in that belief. I'll give you an example. Right? You believe that when you donate, your wealth doesn't decrease. As a Muslim, you believe that, right? But if you don't talk to yourself regarding this belief, that belief will remain simply what? A thought. It will eventually be just a thought. And eventually it will be just a theory. And eventually it will be something that you say, you hear, but it's not within your life. Something that you hear, you say, or you read, but it's not within your life. But if you talk to yourself that if I donate, keep talking to yourself, if I donate, this donation will not decrease my wealth, it will only increase. You talk to yourself, then you're most likely you'll do what? You will donate. If you talk to yourself, most likely you will start donating. But if you donate without a mindset, your donation will be a random donation here and there, emotional. But if you have a mindset, the mindset is that I want to donate in order to empower these causes. I want to also earn money in order to empower these causes. Yeah? You have that mindset that you want to donate to empower these smart causes. You want to also earn money in order for you to empower these causes. And you have the mindset that you want to donate regularly, so every month or every week, a substantial amount of money to these smart causes. And you want to be amongst those who actually transform the society for the better through these smart causes, you have these mindsets. You want to be amongst those people who the gate of Jannah of donation calls you. Your name is written in that Jannah's gate. So you have these mindsets. The one who has his mindsets, do you think he will donate more than the one who doesn't have those mindsets? Of course he will. The one who has his mindsets, he will donate more than the one who does not have these mindsets. Yes or no? Okay. And then will he see the fruits that he is intending to produce in that society, in that locality, or in those smart organizations and institutions and charities? He will sooner or later begin to see what? The results and the fruits coming through. Yeah. So first is talking to yourself. When you have a belief, you ought to what? Talk to yourself. Then you ought to have mindsets. And then your action will become a regular, routine action by which eventually will become your character. Yeah? And that's also what Ta'ala talks about Muhammad's character in verse 6. He says, فَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ عَلَىٰ آثَارِهِمْ إِلَّا مُؤْمِنُ بِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أَسَفًا. Because Rasul had the belief, he was speaking to himself, he had the mindsets, he was enacting them regularly. It became a character so much so that he wanted everyone to believe exactly what he believes in, everyone to enact what he is enacting, everyone to achieve where he's trying to achieve or what he's trying to achieve. He wants everyone to attain what he is trying to attain. And those who intentionally, willingly, wholeheartedly do not do that or go against it, he feels sad and sorry for them. He feels pity for them. He becomes saddened by them. Yeah? So, simply believe isn't enough. And as I said in my Aqidah class, most of us believe through the fitrah and aql and not through the evidences of Quran and Sunnah. Most of us believe through the fitrah and aql and not through the Quran and Sunnah. Quran and Sunnah only affirms it for us. However, if we simply leave it without talking to ourselves, then that belief, it will fail us when trials and tribulations come. The belief will fail you when trials and tribulations come. Because that belief is at the surface level. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made that very clear by saying, قالت الأعراب آمنا قل لم تؤمنوا ولكن قولوا أسلمنا. The Arabs have said they have believed. Tell them, Muhammad sallallahu they have not believed, they have simply surrendered. The iman is at the surface level. Believe, it takes time for it to go in the depth of your heart. Taking time, what does that mean? You'll be tested. There will be trials and tribulations with your desires and whims. If you pass them, then it will settle in your depth of your heart. So once it is settled, then you can do away with any trial and any tribulations. Only then can you claim or be confident enough for you to claim you are amongst the Muslims. That's why mindsets are important. Because without mindsets, your work will be random. Your activities will be random. Your deeds will be at the subconscious level. It will not be at the conscious, wholehearted, willing level. Nor will it be at the deemed quality work level. Now, when people ask me, does everyone have a mindset? The answer is what? The answer is yes. Everyone has a mindset. It can be a positive, it could be negative. But everyone lives with mindsets. There's no one who does actions without mindsets. Everyone has an outlook of an action. So everyone has a mindset, whether they know it or not. Okay? It could be negative, it could be positive. And based on that, they enact. Based on that action, a mindset, they enact. So a Muslim's greatest mindset as a Muslim is this mindset we just mentioned. So I exist simply to meet and see the miracle of existence. So your existence is not for Allah to punish you. Your existence is not for Allah to trial you. Your existence is for you to meet and see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the more you talk to yourself regarding this reality and you start making it into a mindset, behind you start doing your actions and reactions, daily ones, weekly ones, monthly ones, yearly ones, decades. So this ultimate reality becomes your mindset. It becomes a working machine. Yeah, but behind your actions. Yeah. Then you will see a difference in your everyday life. So the destination doesn't end just by simply entering into Jannah. Destination ends with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala meeting and seeing Him. And that's why the last verse of Surah Al-Kahf is what? فَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو لِقَاءَ رَبِّهِ, the one who wishes to meet his Rabb. Okay? You can, when you have that mindset becomes your ultimate mindset, you can do the most tremendous difficult work. You can sacrifice the most loving thing you can sacrifice. You can also leave the most dear thing to you. You can leave it. when you have this mindset. You see, all the prophets had this as the ultimate mindset. When they were given a chance to live, they said, no, we want to die. Why? Because they wanted to meet and see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That was the ultimate mindset. They were guaranteed paradise, right? They were guaranteed Jannah. They knew that. But what they wanted was to meet and see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Same with the Sahaba, those who were guaranteed Jannah. This mindset was driving them. This mindset was driving them. So Abu Bakr and Umar, when they was to ask, they would say, what would I answer to my Rabb? How will I face him? Yeah? So the worry was about the meeting and seeing. I believe this is one of the greatest mindset that the Ummah as a whole has lost. As a whole has lost. We do not have this mindset at the individual level, at the family level, at the society level. We do not have this mindset that the ultimate destination is meeting and seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's not spoken about constantly, consistently, regularly. And because of that, everything else becomes heavy, difficult, challenging. And you know the ajib thing, just so I give example, the prophets, they had the mindset. That was the ultimate mindset of the prophets. That was the ultimate mindset of the prophets. That was the ultimate mindset of the Sahaba, right? That was the ultimate mindset of any true believer of Allah. Yes or no? Men or women, that was the ultimate mindset. What is the ultimate mindset of the angels? This is the ultimate mindset of the angels. They want to meet and see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah? And because of that, they are doing what they are performing. Yeah? But that ultimate mindset, which is agreed upon amongst the prophets, amongst the angels, amongst the best of our Muslim Ummah, but we as individuals may not have the ultimate mindset within us. And that is obviously is making us slack and lack. So this is the mindset, which is the ultimate mindset of a Muslim. Has to be spoken about. You have to speak to yourself. You have to ingrain and settle it within your hearts and minds, and then you ought to solidify it, and then you ought to work towards it. How do you work towards it? There are specific intentions you ought to make in order for you to work towards it. So the specific intentions are: you want to attain the love of Allah. You want to attain the mercy of Allah. You want to attain the grace of Allah, the fadl of Allah. You want to attain the maghfir of Allah. You don't want to be going through His wrath. You want to attain the rida of Allah. These are some of the intentions now you can speak about, and then you can work on those intentions behind the actions, behind the deeds. And the more you start working on it, until they actually become reality in your donations, in your salawat, in your zakawat, in your fasting, in your reciting, in your helping with someone, in your assisting them. These intentions become reality of your heart. The heart intends these things naturally or willingly, proactively, consciously intends them. Then khalas, you've got the mindset, and now behind this mindset, you've got these intentions, lofty ones. Now you're making this mindset reality now. And as soon as you start doing that, your routine eventually becomes into a character, and your character eventually becomes you, by which now you are identified with this mindset, with these specific intentions and the specific goals that you have now behind every deed. These now have become your identity, who you are. And now, once you reach that level, now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the angels, they can begin to see you, your heart, its intentions, your mind and its destination, where it wants to go, and the character it has built, right, around the mindset and the inner heart actions, the character which has been built. And then now Allah and the angels and the believers can call you a Muslim or a mu'min or a muhsin, a siddiq, and so forth and so on. Let me give you a statement. This is a golden statement I'm going to give, so make sure it's written down. No true Muslim can attain his potential at the fullest level without this mindset. No true Muslim can attain his or her potential without this mindset. And without this mindset being the first of mindsets. Okay? Let's take some action points. So the first action point I said, in order for you to achieve this mindset, the first action point I gave, proactively enact and live the final revelation. That is the only source for you to be able to live a content life no matter what you're going through. You have to not subconsciously, proactively enact and live the final revelation. There's no other way for you without proactively taking the means to enact the final revelation. So if you're just going along every day, just going along, it's like you're riding the ship, right? But you're not the captain of the ship, right? You're just sailing, and you're just, you're just looking at the sunset and the sunrise and the birds and the oceans. Right? If you're living a life like that, then don't blame anyone, right, than yourself if the ship sinks. Yeah. So you have to live your life proactively. You have to choose exactly how you are living. You have to be proactive, you have to be conscious. You can't just live your life just sailing and letting others lead you, building things around you, be it the environment, be it the culture, dictating how you live. You have to dictate how you live and how you're choosing to live. Number 2, you are designing and decorating your home above you now and the highest level of the creation just beneath the Arsh of Ar-Rahman by your daily routine, by your daily routine, actions and deeds. The only thing your deeds and your actions you're performing, it's not doing something in the above or in the beneath. It's either doing something above or it's either doing something beneath. Beneath is Jahannam, above is Jannah. It has a results and fruits direct above you or directly beneath you. So don't live ideally. Just go with the flow. Because anyone who believes Allah to be the ultimate destination cannot live just in the air. Last action point, Allah brought you to existence simply to grant you delights and pleasures. The ultimate one is to meet and see Him. So fight your negative self to bond with Allah daily with exhausted recitations, constant dua and adhkar, and with qiyamul layl. If you know Him now at the ihsan level, the loftier the bonding will be in the coming life. So in the coming life, everyone who is in Jannah, obviously the levels will be different. The levels of the pleasures and the delights will be different. But what will be the most different? What will be the most different? What will be the most different? But which we'll never ever know. Huh? For example, when you pray your salah and someone next to you praying salah, you feel the sweetness and your tears start beginning to flow. The guy next to you is going, what you're feeling, is he feeling it? He's just next to you. Now imagine the difference then in Qiyamah Day. In Jannah. Will you ever know? Will you ever know the distance between the one who is feeding the highest of the highest and the highest of the bonding with Allah, the sweetness, and you could be just next to him. Will anyone ever know? Will you know?
This life.
No, in the Akhirah life. This life you can't know, obviously. In the Akhirah life, will you also know? How will you know?
Because you see them moving.
Oh. Not the pleasure, I'm saying inside what they're feeling. How will you know? So you can't know in this life, nor can you know in the Akhirah life. You can't know what they're feeling. You can't even measure it. You can't even what? Measure it. Because you don't know what they are feeling and the level you're feeling. But what you can sort of guarantee is if their ihsan level was loftier in this dunya life, then their sweetness is loftier in the Akhirah life. If the bonding was loftier in this dunya life, then the bonding in the Akhirah life is much more higher. I'll give you an example. You and your wife, you're in the same level of Jannah. Same room, same everything. Will the bonding with Allah be same? Huh? With the bonding with Allah, will it be the same? Of course not. Imagine she was a proper muhsina. She was gentle, she was calm, she was obedient, she was respectful, she was forgiving, she was assertive when she needed to be assertive. She was not a personal fitna. Yeah? Even you're in the same Jannah, but the bonding that she will have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be obviously far higher and loftier than yourself. Yeah? But sad thing out of all of this is not that, oh, she is higher and loftier than me. That won't be the saddest part. The saddest part will be that I had the same opportunity, if not maybe I had more of an opportunity for me to attain a loftier pleasure and delight than her, but I did not. Yeah? That would be more sad. The older prophets and all the Sahaba and the great people that we take as role models, what is the thing that you find when they were performing ibadah and when we are performing ibadah? You find two different distinctions outwardly. One distinction is they performed very calmly. Whatever the ibadah they were performing was calm, was collected. You find them performing it calmly. There's no haste, there's no rush. That's number one. And number two, you find them that they used to exhaust themselves in that particular ibadah. They perform it at the maximum level. By which they were exhausting themselves. Not overburdening themselves, but they were exhausting themselves. There was a level of exhaustion. When we perform our ibadah, it's a rush, it's a haste. Outward I'm talking about, not internal. Internal you've got bigger problems. But external, we tend to rush and haste. That's number one. And number two, what? We don't exhaust ourselves. So for example, if you want to spend tahajjud, 2 rakat, quick, 8 rakat, alhamdulillah. There's no exhaustion. Recitation, 1 hour recitation, and a half an hour recitation every day, alhamdulillah. There's no exhaustion. Yeah? Now, exhaustion is not intended. It's not intended that you want to exhaust yourself through this ibadah. But that was their mindset. That I want to perform this ibadah until I can't do it anymore. Then I'll stop. And Abu Bakr made that very clear when Prophet passed away. He said, whoever used to worship Muhammad, then Muhammad has died. And whoever was worshipping Allah, then Allah is ever living al-Qayyum. He does not die. In other words, whoever was worshipping Allah to meet Him and see Him, He still exists. That destination still is there for you. And whoever was doing this out of emotion, out of subconscious, out of dunya life, out of position, power, authority, out of name, out of fame, then the reason for that, all of that, Muhammad was the main reason, wasn't he? He's dead. Okay? So this mindset, I believe, we Muslims need to speak amongst ourselves. We need to speak to ourselves individually, quietly, keep speaking until it becomes ingrained in our hearts, in our minds. And then it becomes a mindset by which we start working towards making this mindset a reality within our daily lives. There's 2 articles written on goals and purposes by which you can actualize this mindset. It's on our website, I think, the Al-Arqam's website. Read those 2 articles. It's called Goals and Purposes. With that, we'll stop, inshallah. حياكم الله تقبل الله منا ومنكم صالح الأعمال. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Any questions?
Yeah, for a question.
Bismillah.
You have mentioned that the end of Jannah life is seeing and reaching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what will be happening after that? I'm not going to be living in Jannah anymore.
Of course, we'll be living in Jannah.
Yeah.
That's the end of destination.
It's reaching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After
Meeting and seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
after that, we'll be seeing Jannah.
Of course, we'll be in Jannah.
Yeah.
Of course, we'll be in Jannah. Yes, any other question? خير حياكم الله. We'll stop here for today. بارك الله فيكم جزاكم الله خير. Maybe I'll give you a small homework, which is to read the biography of these individuals who were the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah Ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Kahf. Read the biographies, read as many tafsir books or articles or books written around them. Read as much as you can, so that inshallah when it's next week and the following week we'll be speaking about them, so you'll have a more better grasp of this incident that took place with these young men. حياكم الله تقبل الله منا ومنكم صالح الأعمال والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.